Hello everyone and welcome back, and today our macro VBA journey begins. Today we're going to learn the easiest way to create a macro by using the macro recorder. This is like turning on a tape recorder. I know I'm dating myself. That will register everything you do until you turn it off. So the recorded operation can then be played back by using the keyboard shortcuts or maybe even having a little button that you can press on. And that's what we're going to focus in on today. So we're just going to be using one demo today. It's in the resources. It's called Macro Record Intro. But before we get into it, you need to make sure that you have on your version of Excel this particular ribbon, the developer ribbon, which incorporates macros and Visual Basic, the VBA that we're going to learn. So you have to have that before we can get rolling. Let me review how to do this. So you go over here and you go down to Options. When you're in this one, click on Customize Ribbon, and if it's not there yet, you'll have to check off the developer and then press OK. And then when you come back, you should see now in your ribbons the developer ribbon, and that will allow us to, for instance, today record macros and then later on program them using VBA. Now when you record a macro, it's almost like you're doing a play or a movie. You got to sort of practice before you do it. So it's almost like go through all the steps yourself, because you don't want to waste time doing 5 or 6 activities that you click on, then you go, you know what, I shouldn't have done that, and you go back. So sort of almost like practice before you actually record the macro, because it'll remember every single step, mistakes and all. All right, let's begin. So I'm in the developer ribbon, and I'm going to press record macro. It's going to ask me for a name. I'm going to call this new format because there actually is a macro already as part of this demo, I think, called format. So let's call this new format. And you may remember from my demonstration, this macro, I executed it by pressing Control F. Well, let's make a different letter. Let's make it Control N, N for new. Okay, and we're just about ready to record. Okay, so once we press OK, we're live and everything we do will be recorded. All right, so here we go. We are now live. Now, it's up to you. You do whatever you want. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I'd like to do. So when you record the macro, actually, always start there, okay, in that corner. So I'm going to highlight everything across here. And then, what do you want to do? Well, I can go back to Home, and I'm going to bold it and italicize it. And then I'm also going to right-click, and I'm going to change the format, give it sort of like a background color, and I'll pick light yellow. Okay, this column right here, I'm going to change the background of that one too. I'm going to format cells. I'll go to fill pattern and I'll make it a light green. And again, it's totally up to you. This one here, I'm not going to fill the color, but I am going to put some sort of borders around it, sort of give it a grid. So I'm going to format, and this one I'm going to pick a border, and I'm going to want to cross like that and down, and I guess I could change the color. Let's leave it like that for now. Okay, and this last column, we'll make it a color. Again, it's up to you. All right, the computer is remembering everything you're doing right now, so hopefully you're not making too many mistakes. You hopefully know where you want to go and what you want to do. This last one, let me change the font to something else. I'll change it to, let's go down here. Never heard of that one before. And I'm going to put it light, bold, italic. I'm going to press OK. Maybe that doesn't look that great, but you get the basic idea. I'm basically done now. I'm not moving my keyboards around. It doesn't remember what I'm saying, obviously. I'm going to go back now to the developer ribbon and stop recording. All right, now the moment of truth. Now you see the way I made this demo. We designed or created our macro here. When I did it for this demonstration, I made it in here, and then I made an extra exact same thing sheet where I would test it. So we, for this demonstration, created our macro here. Why don't we all switch now to the third worksheet? And it doesn't matter where you put yourself, because it'll know to jump back up to here after. But the way you now execute the macro, there's actually 2 ways. I'll show you the first way. You press Control N, and there it is. All right, so that's our quick and dirty way. The second way to play a macro is to press up here where it says macros, And remember, your macro has a name also, okay? So that's another way to execute it. You go there and then you can press run. Now, it's not going to change anything here because they're all been done, but when you press here, it'll also let you execute it. A third way to execute a macro is actually create a little button that you press to execute it. And to do that, you go to Insert. Got two sets of choices here. For now, we're going to pick Form Controls. When we learn real computer programming, Visual Basic, we'll use these ActiveX's also. But let's press this one right here for now. And I'll just draw a little rectangle. Now, the instant I draw it, it'll want a response from me. Okay, which one do I pick? Well, I'm going to pick New Format. Actually, just for fun, why don't we pick this one? Because I want to prove that this changes. So let's pick this one, which is my original one that I had in the demonstration program. And I'm going to press OK. Okay, now in here you can say execute Shirley macro, okay, because it's not the one that you guys just did. And let's see if it actually works. So when I go over it, it should turn to a finger. Very nice. When I press it, it goes to the other style, and I don't know what it did to the numbers there, but it proves that that is executed. Okay, before we wrap it up, why don't we have some fun and take a look at what's going on in the background, in the hidden world of programming. So if we go to macro and you go over New Format and you press Edit, what you're going to do is enter this underground world. This is the world of the VBA, the Visual Basic for Applications commands that are written automatically as you are moving around recording your macro. Now, really, you don't have to do much in here. I mean, just leave it as it is. But once we get more sophisticated and we understand how to do these commands, we're going to type them in ourselves, change them, whatever. So why don't we, for fun, go down and change something? Like in that last sort of column that I modified, remember how I changed the font? We can change that font to, well, there's an easy one that we know, Arial, right? How about change it from size 10? Let's make it crazy, like 30, okay? Light, bold, italic, we'll leave that alone. So you can actually modify the commands yourself after they're recorded. Let's see if that actually works out after we did it. So we're gonna go back to this screen here, and I'll test it right on this one, because this one is a good spot to see if it works. We'll press Control N, whoa. Look what just happened, okay? We changed our font size to, I think it was 30, right? So it became quite large, and it's an Arial sort of font. So there you have an idea of how you can actually go into the code, into the underground, and modify it after that. Now, I've just given you a taste for what's involved there. What we're going to start doing now is spending a lot of time in that underground world and typing commands from there. This recording stuff, from time to time, we'll need it if we want to know a command that we're not familiar with, so we'll record it and we'll see what the computer plops in that spot. But most of the time we're going to do it by hand. We're going to do this VBA programming. So that's what's coming up next. Thanks for listening. Take care. We'll see you in the next lecture.